or even changing the game. The problem is that you could say, oh well, this isn't Devil May Cry because they've screwed up Dante. And I mean, I suppose ultimately it could be a different Devil May Cry game, not necessarily made by Capcom, not necessarily with the main Dante that we know, but a different one. For example, people said Splinter Cell Conviction wasn't a Splinter Cell game, but it was, just not the same as the others. Also because people said it was easy, all you had to do is press buttons to make moves happen. Well, it's not, that's not the case. It's just, it's a different playstyle. Also, you have to admit, after, let's just say 7 Splinter Cell games before Conviction, you can't possibly keep the gameplay the exact same and get away with it. I mean, I'll get to the point about same and different later. And also, on that, point, it's the same with Prince of Persia, where, you have this, similar gameplay throughout the whole series, but then you want to create something new. And this was going to be Ubisoft first Prince of Persia on next gen before Forgotten Sands. Forgotten Sands was a fantastic game, by the way, played like the original trilogy with new magic, which made it fun, because if you ask me, without the magic that game would have been terrible. But anyway, so the new Prince of Persia itself, I honestly think that was a great game, just because it was a whole new experience, new story, new characters, everything. But problem with fans and fan bases and fanboys is, if you keep it, if you make a game different, if you take a series that people have known and loved, let's just say for 3 games, and then you make the next game different, people will explode for whatever reason. Even a series like Final Fantasy, which isn't particularly consistent in gameplay anyway, when you make another game different, cough cough, FF13, everyone explodes. See, I loved FF13. Why? Because I'm not an idiot who just thinks, oh my god, every Final Fantasy has to be the same. Every Final Fantasy has to have towns. No, screw that. FF10 didn't exactly have towns everywhere. That was a fantastic game. That was like disgustingly linear game, and I still love that. That was because it was, about characters, about gameplay, about aeons, graphics, amazing game. FF7, yes, it had towns, but obviously that was one of the oldest FFs altogether, and it's my favorite. I'm not going to say it's the best. Don't start no flame wars, okay? But I thought it was fantastic. And FF8, even though there's a lot of problems with that game, well, there's a lot of problems with every Final Fantasy, but anyway, FF8, a lot of problems with that game, but also great. 9, 12, whatever. Point is, a series like that, let's just say it has some sort of consistency. So you could say to yourself, okay, fair enough. When you think Final Fantasy, you think towns, exploration, missions. I don't know. Personally, I think that's missing the point. How can you say that series is about that when that's just gameplay features, but they've never been set in stone, so they change every time? Also, just like the characters and the story change, Final Fantasy is never the same game every single time. So how can you then accuse that game, or specifically FF13, of being a bad game just in lieu of it being different or linear? I mean, first off, lots of games are linear. That doesn't stop those games from being good. Lots of games are simple with simple button presses. That doesn't make the game simple. Oh yeah, you know that joke. Oh, press A to win. I hate people who say that in FF13 because they've obviously only played like the first 2 to 3 hours. I'm like, press A. I'm like, I've played 90 hours of this game and you're telling me the game's press A to screw you. I'm not even gonna. If someone just says that to me, press A or X if it's PS3 to win, I'm like, no, I'm not even gonna talk to you. You don't know what you're talking about. But the point is that look how badly a game can be scrutinized for being different, and that happens when. Really, let's just say for Final Fantasy, what's consistent to me and what makes a game of Final Fantasy isn't something like you can go to towns and get missions. Because if you ask me, that's sort of tedious. I don't play games to just run around and do. That just sounds stupid. I play games for fantastic characters, amazing development, great graphics and cutscenes, cinematic and epic boss battles. And that's one thing every Final Fantasy has. It starts off, it grips you, it gives you this fantastic story, these characters going through different stuff. And then, you go save the world or some crap. And that's what 13 did. It did it with the same sort of Final Fantasy canon stuff. You had your Moogle sort of as the Moogle shop. You had your magics, your fire, your blizzard, your thunder god, whatever. And so you have all this, including summons, including, boss battles, including missions later on. So that's what made it out. And the same thing with Devil May Cry. Is with Devil May Cry, obviously you got your hack and slashing, you got your weapons, you got your different variations of demons and so on and so forth. See, now I would have been happy if they just continued, Devil May Cry to Devil May Cry 5, or maybe either a continuation of Nero, which not everyone would agree with, but whatever. Either continuation of Nero or a new adventure for Dante, maybe with a slightly different new look. even if they'd made Dante's jacket black, just like the new Dante, maybe that would have been okay, cool, whatever. At least it's still Dante, right? You know what I mean? But you know, a game like that is different. Now, here is where I bring this whole thing, and why I think fanboys are stupid and they'll never be happy. Because let's just say you make a game different after a while. Splinter Cell, Prince of Persia, Final Fantasy. Even though, like I said, that's a very stupid case. Every Final Fantasy is different. But anyway, so you make a game different, and fanboys explode. Now, have you noticed that when a game's kept the same, fanboys still explode? And the best example I can think of right now, November 6th, November 6th, 2011, the best example I can think of is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, which I'm going to go get Monday night. Now, for the past year, especially in relation to a certain game that it's been trying to, certain game that's been trying to take Call of Duty down for the past year, fanboys are like, oh my god, Call of Duty looks the same. Okay, I'm not getting into the long and short of how Modern Warfare 3, well, one, you ain't played it, you don't know. Two, it looks the same, but there's a lot of features that could be dynamically different. That's not the argument here. The point is, it has similar gameplay. It pretty much looks the same, probably with improved graphics. And this similar gameplay, improved graphics trend, it's not a new thing. I don't know why people are beating up on Modern Warfare 3. I'm not going to talk about Battlefield 3. No. This isn't about Battlefield 3. I'm not going to talk about Frostbite Engine. Screw that shit. No. What I'm going to talk about is Modern Warfare 3, being a similar looking sequel. Not exactly similar completely. It's not Modern Warfare 2.5. Similar looking sequel with updated graphics and new gameplay. I can name so many games that are like that. The Jack series. They've improved the graphics, they've added new features, but it's the same jump, spin, kick crap. Ratchet and Clank series, the original trilogy on PS2, even Deadlock to a degree. What else? Recently, Bioshock 1, Bioshock 2. Were it not for the new gameplay features, if I took a screenshot of Bioshock 1 and a screenshot of Bioshock 2 and ask you to tell me what are the major differences, all you'd probably say is, well, if I let's say maybe I had just a drill, because Big Daddy in what's his name in Bioshock 2, you'd probably say, oh well, he's holding a drill, or maybe I take the bit in Bioshock 1 where you became a Big Daddy and made them both hold a drill. You'd think, oh look, it was Bioshock 1, when it's actually Bioshock 1, Bioshock 2. The graphics are so similar, the locations are so similar. It's the same linear bullcrap. But I love Bioshock 2. That's not the point. Point is, there's other games like Assassin's Creed as well. Every Assassin's Creed game that comes out is more or less the same crap. It looks like the same crap. It plays like the same crap. They just added new features. Even a big game is Uncharted 3, which has phenomenal graphics, but it looks like Uncharted 2, which looks like Uncharted 1. So it's the same thing.